Hey guys, welcome back to the Awesome Sunday Show. Pat here.
And Connor speaking.
So today we're going to be talking about The Flash again. This is only going to be a little short episode.
Yeah.
On what was, I think, a pretty great episode.
It was I liked it. It was alright. I thought I was expecting a lot more.
Well, there were things I didn't like. There were things I did like. For the thing I liked the most was Matt Letscher, who played Eobard Thawne.
Yeah, he was great.
I thought he was great.
That was my biggest problem. I thought he wasn't in it enough.
Yeah, that's fair. He gave a great performance, which is tough to follow up a character that Tom Cavanaugh played so well last season.
Yeah.
Granted, Matt Letscher was in for like 5 minutes last season, but I think he did a great job in the screen time he had. And then you get like more background on him. Like, he actually gives the reason of why he hates the Flash. He doesn't know the Flash is Barry just yet. He had to go back in time to find what era the Flash was from in the first place, so that he can go back and kill him. But he gives his reasoning for why he hates the Flash. It's basically because he couldn't be him, and then he discovered that he was going to be his greatest enemy, which is, his own fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest surprise of it, obviously, was that he came back in the first place, which, if you saw the season finale of Season 1, he basically got erased from time when Eddie Thawne killed himself.
Yes.
But luckily, Harrison Wells
Sacrificed himself.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Explained how he survived which is at the time that Eddie was sacrificed himself, the Reverse Flash who comes back in this episode was in the Speed Force. So there's technically two Reverse Flashes going on at once, which if you saw the season finale, you see two Barrys in the one scene where Barry goes to find his mom.
Yes.
So while one Eobard Thawne was already in what is the present day in the show, one was on his way time traveling through there, basically the first time that the Reverse Flash ever went back to 2015, 2016 or whatever. So it's technically the same Reverse Flash, same Eobard Thawne, but technically not at the same time. It's weird.
That's another thing I had too. I just feel like it wasn't explained that good.
I
still didn't get. Maybe I'm an idiot, but like the way when Harrison Wells, Harry, was like explaining it, he was just like, but like he's from this time, from the future, so he hasn't come back yet. And I'm like, but it would make sense if he came from an Earth 3 or something like that, or but like it's the same time lineage, like unless there's a farther future he came from, but like they didn't really get into it that much. It was
he came from an earlier future,
right?
Than when the first Eobard Thawne from last season came back.
That's what they said it. I don't know.
And while he was traveling back, he was in the Speed Force. The Speed Force isn't affected by changes in the timeline, is what Wells said, basically.
Okay, that makes a little more sense.
He was separated from the changing events that resulted from Eddie sacrificing himself. So he's kind of protected. Like he was between time.
Yeah, but see, that's still kind of, while it makes more sense the way you explained it, the Speed Force time does not touch the Speed Force, essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it also helps that he's from a point in time he's the first instance the Reverse Flash ever went back. So it's, an earlier Reverse Flash from last season. Just how, like, Barry went back and saw the last two times, or the first time and the most recent time he time traveled. Last season when he was trying to prevent the tidal wave, and then this season during the crossover, he was running side by side with himself, an earlier version of himself. That's kind of what was happening here, and that they could both appear because they're from different points in time. They could both appear and separate themselves like that. Time travel is always it's never set well because it's just too hard to perfect in a way that makes so much sense.
No, right. I do give it a little bit of leeway because like if there's already guys like running faster than anybody could ever in the show, so it's like that there's already like holes there, but we accept it. So, but
suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's the thing with time travel is like if you explain too much, then there's more questions to answer.
Exactly. You just got to accept it at face value.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of something from this past week's episode of Arrow, Oliver was talking to Laurel about something. Laurel's the Black Canary, and he like subtly dropped, because in one of the crossover episodes, Oliver learns he has a son. So he, without exactly saying it to Laurel, he said, I did something before Barry traveled back in time, and Laurel just gives him like this like bewildered face, and he's like, just like, yeah, Barry can like run through time, which like obviously is like mind bending.
Yeah.
But when you realize the dude can run faster than the speed of light, or however fast he's able to run, and that there's all these people in Central City who have all these powers, you'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
It's one of those instances like, well, if all this other shit's possible, why not? But that was just something that was funny. So Eobard Thawne's goal was to find out what era the Flash was from. He accomplished that. And now he knows like relatively how old the Flash is and when he goes back. And one of the consequences of this, Cisco had a vibe that he was back. Which is how we learned of it.
Cisco can vibe pretty much, not on cue yet, but he's getting better.
Right, and it helps that Wells of Earth 2 discovered that his vibing powers are triggered by adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
And he could also vibe into the future a little bit, because when Thawne captured what's her name, Dr. McGee from Mercury Labs and killed her, that was like 6 hours in the future that Cisco saw. So Wells like boosted up his vibing goggles, and so now Cisco basically can see different futures. And I think they kind of like that scene, they were kind of going like, seemed like how when Barry traveled through the Speed Force last season, like how he saw bits from like Earth 2 in it, and so Cisco kind of had the same thing going on. So I guess we're just going to keep seeing more and more of his powers until he could like do it on command. So they decide to capture Thawne after a pretty good battle where Barry almost literally killed him with how much he was beating on him.
Yeah, he's
like he was
the crap
getting
out of him.
faster and heavier with each punch, and Joe was like, "Can't kill him, Barry. Like, just can't do that."
Which is BS.
I know.
That's another thing too. I was like, oh, you can't kill him. Why?
He killed my mom. Maybe not this one yet, but
Yeah.
he kills my mom.
It's just like, why haven't they killed Sideshow Bob in The Simpsons yet? It's because
Exactly.
it's because he brings in ratings every episode. It's just kind of like the same concept. Like, there's no good reason besides that. They couldn't think of one.
It's because Barry's not evil. He's not a murderer. Which, the superhero's got to have some standards, but he's killed him before, especially in the comics. He fucking snapped his neck.
Yeah, it's just not. Yeah.
But that set up the weakness of Cisco's power, which since they captured him, blocked him away. Which when they had him locked up, I like how Cisco went up to him and was like, the only thing he asked him, "How'd you get your suit in that ring?" And Thawne's just like, "Really? That's all you want to ask me?" That was pretty funny.
That was kind of funny.
And then when Cisco shut the door on him, he goes, "Bye, Felicia." Classic Cisco with those pop culture references. But the consequence of Barry capturing him and keeping him from returning back to his time was in order to correct itself or to make the adjustment, the timeline was basically erasing Cisco, because he was connected to time in this. I don't know. So it was basically erasing him, so Barry had to let him go, which was a really cool like scene, because you see the Flash and then Reverse Flash, like just a sweet looking like wallpaper worthy picture of them lined up, and then both with their suits on, and then racing to reach the speed to open up the Speed Force so Thawne could get back, which was really cool. And then Barry just like fucking unloads and tackles him right into the future. I thought it was pretty cool.
Another really cool scene, well, not scene, but like nod to what's going to happen in the future is when Jay Garrick looks for his Earth 1 counterpart.
Yeah, that was like the C plot of this episode.
Yeah.
Because like we learned, was it last episode or the one before it, that Jay's dying. Don't know from what, But the lack
It's
of
like
his
so annoying.
the lack of his speed force or the loss of it or whatever is killing him basically. He's more or less got like cancer or something.
It's like
we're led to believe, but they
it's
don't
like
say.
Speedster cancer.
Yeah.
It's really annoying that he hasn't gotten his powers back yet. He's
know.
honestly like the dead horse that's dragging this season. I was so excited for him to be in here, and I was like, yeah, like Jay Garrick, the actual First Flash, is in here, and he runs in like the first episode, and nope, sorry, like 13 episodes,
Yeah.
14 episodes in, and he still can't run. It's just so annoying. It's not like he makes, like, whenever I see him on screen, he just doesn't do anything. He just stands right. He's like when Bruce Jenner was on the Kardashians. He just stood around in the background and walked around. He just did nothing. And
Well, hopefully that changes sometime
Yeah.
in the next few episodes, but who knows? They might just be saving it for the finale,
but
which
like,
I don't want them to.
I don't want them to either.
Yeah, but you never know.
If
But-
if they want to save it for the finale, then they should have saved the actual character to like the end of the show and been like, I haven't been around because my speed is gone. Like, he hasn't done anything. He's done nothing. He pointed out Hunter Zolomon, who is his Earth One counterpart,
Which is a big deal, though.
which is
that
a
they're
big
throwing
deal.
him
But they
in.
could have they could have been like, hey, like, who's this guy? Like, introduce Hunter Zolomon differently, and then you know what I would have done? I would have had to introduce Hunter Zolomon first as a character. And then Jay Garrick comes in and it's like, whoa, you look just like Hunter Zolomon. He's like, but I'm Jay Garrick. And then they give him the hat. Like, I don't know. Like, that's how I would have done it. It's just so annoying. He just doesn't run. He never runs. He's a speedster that doesn't run. He's dying. He sucks. He sucks so bad.
He's dying because he sucks.
He's dying because he sucks. It's so annoying. I can't stand it. He literally, like, I think worse of an episode when he's on there. And like, it sucks. And like, the actor does a great job. Like, I forget his name.
Teddy Sears.
Yeah, he does a great job. The actor is great. I think they picked a really good guy. It's nothing against him. It's just how they're writing his character. It's just so annoying. I can't take it anymore. I'm ranting so hard right now, and you're loving it.
Yeah, it's funny, but I think the introduction of Zolomon was a interesting twist,
Yeah, but it was
like an interesting way to do it. I know you're pissed because it's Jay and whatever. It was an interesting way for them to do it.
Yeah, and why? And why does she like him?
Caitlyn?
Yeah, why does Caitlyn like him?
I don't know.
I just can't. Exactly. You don't know. She just fell for him.
I guess she's just attracted
he's
to like
he's a very handsome man.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
and-
and smart and people who are dying because Ronnie died two or three times.
She just
and
loves
still
people
him.
who are dying.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying.
You know what
like,
she is? She's a Black Widow. Everybody she loved dies,
Yeah.
and she's more. She's had not really any part in it, but whatever. Yeah. So Hunter Zolomon was Wally West's Reverse Flash, who went
Yes.
by Professor Zoom or Zoom. I mean, so did Eobard Thawne at one point, but once
There's a lot of zooms. There's a lot of Reverse
zooms.
Flash.
and he so far from what we know, like when they announced that Zoom was going to be the villain, everyone thought it was Hunter Zolomon, and he still can be. We don't know because we only just met him, and we still don't know who Zoom is.
Yeah.
Even though we're led to believe that Zoom is from Earth 2, doesn't mean that Zolomon couldn't have gotten speed on Earth 1, went to Earth 2, and then started up.
See,
shit
that's
there.
the thing I'm happy they're holding back is like Zoom himself, the villain. Like, I'm glad I don't know almost anything about him yet. And they've done a really good job of doing that. Again, I know I just ranted and complained about something, but that's one
This is
part
one thing.
of a great season so far.
Yeah. And then, so that was the C plot, and that was like a big reveal. And then the B plot was Patty figured out that Barry's the Flash. Which I get it, she's a great detective, and, it's pretty easy to figure out Barry's the Reverse Flash, especially when
You
you're
just have to know him.
having sex with him.
Yeah.
Like when you're his girlfriend. You can kind of see it, and then she figures it out, and then she's saying that to Joe, and Joe's just like, what? And worst liar. Couldn't even say anything to prove, like, shut her down.
Yeah, I do. You know what I would have said? I would have been like, well, if you knew he was the Flash, I mean, how long you been dating him, and you just figuring that out now? Like, wouldn't you have figured something out like quickly? Like, he would have dropped something there. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that was this episode. Like, I did like this episode. There was just a lot of things that were annoying. Like, no,
Yeah, that kind of...
for a show that it's so well written and like has like done such great character development, I was like, oh man, this is a huge misstep.
Yeah. And so Patty from the last episode, is moving to Midway City, but told Barry that I'll stay if you just tell me that you're the Flash, or give me a good reason. First she says good reason, and then later on when she figures out he's the Flash, just tell me you're the Flash and I'll stay. And Barry doesn't. And Barry pissed me off this whole episode.
Yeah.
Because he's got this awesome, beautiful girl that's in love with him and is willing to stop chasing her dream to be with him. Like, I get it. It'll make him feel bad.
It makes sense, though, because he doesn't want, and he feels like he already has too many attachments for Zoom to.
Oh, yeah. He wants to keep her protected. But Zoom probably already knows his identity anyway. More or less. I mean, he's demasked, and whether or not he knows his name doesn't really matter because he can still find him.
He like if he sees Barry out with some girl.
Yeah, he knows his face.
Yeah.
So but Zoom hasn't gone for Joe or Iris.
At least not yet.
Not yet. When he easily could have.
Which I'm sure is on Barry's mind.
Yeah. Plus, Zoom must have known that Barry dated Linda Park. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent Dr. Light over. I think he knew that part about him.
I think he knows a lot more about Barry than Barry realizes.
Yeah. So it could have, and then his other reason, because he didn't want to hold her back from things and have her regret something later on. Which I get, that's typical rom-com shit, but he was just being such a dick about it.
Yeah.
All she wanted was for him to say, I'd love for you to stay, but you should do this.
He could have told her the truth and been like, but you still need to go away.
Yeah.
You can't be seen with me. There was better ways to handle it.
Yeah, and then she gets real slick and on her way to Midway City. On the train, Barry, there's a guy with a gun. I need help. Blah, blah, blah. Which he's like, okay, I'll help her. Doesn't call the cops. He should have figured out, oh, she's luring me in. Why would she call him over the cops, especially if she is a cop?
Yeah.
And then so he runs there as the Flash. Nothing there. And she goes, false alarm. I just wanted you to get here. And then he's like, he's like, yeah, okay, I'm the Flash. And they're acting like their relationship has to end because she's going to Midway City. Barry can run there probably in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It takes him, first of all, he's in Central City and Midway City. So they're both in the center of the country.
Yeah.
Probably by train a few hours apart. Barry could get that in 5 minutes. If Barry could run to Coast City,
even if he was afraid of running,
exactly,
to show people he could take the train, that doesn't take that long. It's like if we live in Ocean County, New Jersey, which is about an hour and a half train ride from New York City.
Yeah.
Let's just say let's say it's roughly around that distance. That's not bad. Barry has a good job.
Exactly.
He can afford train tickets. It's okay.
Exactly. And then, if something happens, just bring his Flash suit with him in a backpack or something. And he could just run there.
Yeah.
Or he could run so fast to Patty's apartment that nobody would even know that the Flash is running.
Yeah, and then not to mention
whatever.
he's on a link with Cisco and the other team from Star Labs and
Exactly.
the team from Star Labs. He's like, Barry, get here now.
He
Bam.
can get there. He can get to Coast City and get 10 pizzas within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He can get to Midway City no problem whatsoever, yet he's treating it at the end as the end of a relationship. If you're dating somebody and then they go away to school for college or whatever, unless you both unless they're going to fucking a different country or something, or you really don't think the relationship's worth keeping or wouldn't work, most couples try it out at least, a long distance relationship.
Yeah, I just
especially one that close. That really bothered me, and how much of a dick he was to her really.
Yeah,
bothered
he
me.
can be he's just and we're complaining about all this stuff that didn't make sense, and they could just have filled it in with more Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, who needed to be in the episode more.
I know.
That guy
Especially
is awesome.
He was so good.
Yeah.
I tweeted to him and complimented him, and he actually liked my tweet.
Did he
tweeted
really?
me back. Yeah, I was pretty stoked on it.
Dude, it's cool when celebrities Brian Garr actually favored one of my tweets today.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Oh, and then there was a D plot where Joe and Iris go make amends with Iris's mom, who's pretty much on her deathbed right now. And then Iris has to go convince Wally to go see her, but Wally's angry, blah, blah, blah. So then they become brother and sister, come together, go say goodbye to their mom. So now that relationship's going to start up, hopefully getting better. Joe and Wally are still rocky, even though they bonded over some General Tso's chicken in the last episode.
But I still never understood why he didn't like his dad. Or not that he didn't like him, he was just For being a detective, how do you know I never existed? Because he ignored his wife. That's why. His wife was a drug addict.
Yeah, not like he would have, doesn't
Yeah.
follow
Like,
up with her.
Archie,
Like,
and
she's gone for a reason.
Yeah, he did admit that he was angry at his mom too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess I can give that a pass.
Yeah, but it's not Joe's fault. Like, you should blame your dying drug addict, lying mom.
Yeah.
Like, it's her fault. It's completely her fault. Joe, for all Joe knows, she could have died at any point over those 20 years.
Yeah,
because
and he would never have known.
They never kept in contact, and like he couldn't find her because she ran away from that rehab center.
Yeah,
and looked. I'm assuming he looked for her, couldn't find her. Whatever. It's all his mom's fault, and yet you're giving Joe shit. Joe's not the type of he's the opposite of the stereotypical black dad.
Yeah.
He want to be around there.
He's not Will Smith's real dad.
Exactly.
From The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Even though the real Will Smith actually had a really good relationship with his father.
He's not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, when you see that meme of like saying like, oh, this is actually like Will Smith's real experience or the acting was so good, that's actually not true.
Yeah. But so like whatever. And then Wally holds resentment against Barry. Like he said something to Iris like, where's the white shadow or whatever. Like he's getting pissed at Barry because Barry grew up basically as Joe's son. Again, not Barry's fault, not Joe's fault.
Little race hit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stop being a bitch, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like this is like the first episode of The Flash where I like turned off the TV and I was like, man, that kind of it didn't suck. It just was disappointing. I've never seen like there's been things here and there that like I would have rather done or disliked, but like every episode I've watched, I've been like, wow, that was entertaining and or fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the first episode I've been like, that wasn't that good.
I think there was just a lot of like things that they should have done differently in this episode, as opposed to most.
There was things that
episodes.
just didn't make sense.
Yeah, but apparently, Wally's gonna turn around, come around to Barry, and then be a big part of the last like 8 episodes or something, which is good. Hopefully
someone good better run fast besides Barry, like
a good speedster. Because there's another evil speedster from Earth 2 who's gonna come over. I forget her name, but it's a female speedster, and she's gonna be causing shit, and the Flash is gonna get in trouble for it. So he's got to prove himself wrong. Whatever. As if Central City doesn't know that there's other speedsters.
Yeah,
the cops
Why
saw.
does DC like tell us this stuff like so early?
I don't know.
It's so annoying.
Like,
just shut up and let us watch.
I know. And it's worse for Batman v Superman and Justice League, which we're going to talk about the next episode. So yeah, that's the conclusion of this episode. I'm sure we'll see Eobard Thawne again. We'll see Hunter Zolomon again. Hopefully, at some point, Jay gets his powers back.
The sooner the better. He sucks. He better get his powers back. It's so annoying watching him there. He does nothing.
Yeah.
He stands there and just and loses and fights against guys half his size.
I know, it's kind of bad.
Yeah. He's bad.
Yeah. This week's episode is the villain's tar pit, and then the week after that, the next 2 weeks, they're going to be going to Earth 2, which is going to be really cool.
When is Kevin Smith directing an episode?
Not until like the last 4 or 5. One of those last 4 or 5 episodes.
Wow.
But yeah, that's something to look forward to.
I hope it's good.
I hope so too. I'm on a real Kevin Smith like downturn.
No, I think he's got. I love Tusk.
I fucking hated Tusk. I think it was a terrible movie.
Oh, I thought it was great.
And Yoga Hosier's from the one. Granted, it was one trailer, but it was cringeworthy bad. So hopefully
I haven't watched the trailer yet, so I can't comment.
It's terrible. But yeah, he hasn't made anything, in my opinion, anything good since Zack and Miri, which is 8 years ago. So, but whatever. He's a huge comic book fan, so hopefully he'll do it justice. And The Flash is one of his favorite shows, he said.
Yeah.
So, that'll be fine. Yeah, so thanks for listening. Keep up with The Flash, and, the back end of the season is lined up to be awesome, and hopefully it does be awesome.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, this might just, like, what episode was this, like, 14?
11.
Oh, it was 11?
Yeah, it was 11.
Oh, it's the middle of the season. It's a mid-season hump, which happens with a lot of episodes that have filler has a bad rep, but filler can be a good thing too.
Like think about it, the Breaking Bad episode with the fly was a bottle episode, but bottle episodes usually are for filler.
Yeah.
That was still an awesome episode.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, but like with a show like The Flash, filler episodes are good.
Kind of necessary.
They are necessary because he needs other side villains to fight, and it makes the show interesting too, and it gives everybody like shows like The Flash where they do like 22 to 24 episodes a season. Kind of gives everybody like they can have their cake and eat it too moments because it gives people a chance that maybe like love like a certain minor villain to like be like, oh, like this episode, guess what, like it's not the main guy, but you're gonna get like Killer Shark and like whoa, like
who
no
is
one saw that
coming,
coming.
I think episode 15, which is gonna be awesome.
And then like you get like and you just get other like little side characters and stuff like that, so that's why I don't mind it. And like this episode was a major filler episode on top of like just getting some little things out of the way.
Yeah.
Even though but the problem is those things that were necessary just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they have Matt Lester back as they brought Dawn again. I think he was the best part of the episode.
No,
Hands down.
He needs to come back. He was great. I mean, I think he like as much as I love Tom Cavanaugh as Reverse Flash, like I would like to see what he's capable of.
Yeah. And for what he did in this episode, I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I thought he was great too. I don't want to say
it's got to be really difficult to follow up a character that was so well received, done by a different actor who's on the same show still.
Yeah,
from a previous season. I got to give him.
Is Tom Cavanaugh going to be in season 3?
Depends on what happens to Earth 2 Wells. I don't know. They haven't announced it yet, so which is, I mean, obviously because it's 11 episodes.
I hope they don't do like he dies and then like there's like an Earth 3, or they like, go back in time. Like
who knows?
Just let him be. Like
who knows? Oh, that speaking of Wells and Thawne, they had a nice like a little funny moment when Thawne looks at him and goes, "Oh, who are you?" Wells knows that he stole his Earth 1 counterpart's body, so he's just like, "Don't worry about it." And it was funny. He had a gun pointed at him as if like Thawne couldn't just run up and dismantle the gun and kill him.
Right.
It was just funny. And another funny thing, while we're wrapping this up, that I forgot to mention is every week Cisco and Wells' banter gets so much funnier.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the opening of this episode when they're having Barry chase down that truck, which they set up to increase his speed, and Cisco's just like, "Wow, you're awfully grouchy," and goes, Wells says something. He goes, "You haven't had your coffee yet, have you?" Wells is like, "I have," and then Cisco goes, "Oh, well, I'm gonna have mine right now," and then slurping it, and Wells is like, "Don't slurp your coffee," and he slurps it even louder.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just gets better every week, and I love that dynamic.
It's good. It's because like it's funny to have a not bad guy not getting along with the good guys. Like
right, like
he's
technically not bad, even though he's going to be helping Zoom. He has a good reason for it because he's trying to save his daughter.
Yeah, but there also too, I feel like there's something else. Like
he's just shady.
He's shady, but like I feel like there's also something else that's going on that we just don't know with him.
Who knows?
Like. Yes, like is he trying to save his daughter? Absolutely, but I feel like he's almost like double playing Zoom in a way. Like, but we just don't know it yet. It's gonna come.
Well,
around.
with the thing with last episode when he stole part of Turtle's brain, he's gonna try and use it against Zoom. So he's kind of playing both sides. He's trying to help Barry, and he's trying to satisfy Zoom, and then he's also trying to stop Zoom. So like it's
a stressful life.
It's a stressful life, which I can see why he's such a dick. I mean, not that he wasn't a dick to begin with, but now he's huge shady dick. It's understandable. I get where he's coming from.
Yeah. Where does he stay?
Star Labs.
Like he just sleeps there?
Probably, unless he crashes at like Cisco's place or something. I'm just assuming he stays at Star Labs. Don't know where Jay stays. Maybe Caitlin's house. Who knows? Maybe Star Labs. Maybe him and Harry are cuddling up at night.
I guess so. I don't know.
Could be. Maybe that's what's
really going on.
Taking Jay's powers.
Yeah.
But next week is called Fastlane, the villain's tar pit, which I just found out was created. Jeff Johns created the character, but he created him when he was 11 years old, and then ended up making him into like a pretty big character in the comics. Who was on the Suicide Squad and everything.
Oh wow.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But pretty cool. All right, that's gonna wrap this up here.
Yeah, we gotta end this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking Justice League and some other shit in the next episode, which probably put this up at the same time. Anyway, see ya.